All right, so Jeremy, give me your thoughts on what is becoming the scariest team in the Eastern Conference, the Brooklyn Nets.
I mean, if I had to pick a phrase, you just said it for me. They're becoming extremely scary. And the more that I see them play, the more that I feel like they have a chance of coming out of the Eastern Conference. And I think it's amazing to kind of think about too, because I mean, if you look at the trio of James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving, they've only played together for I think it's like 7 games. They haven't even had a chance to fully play together that long. And yet the Nets are still dominating teams. Like they're still rolling over teams like it's a varsity versus JV squad. I mean, it's night and day, and I just it they're doing this now with their trio not completely healthy, and that gets me concerned for I don't support any team in the Eastern Conference, but I feel for them because they're gonna have to go through Brooklyn when all three of them are healthy, and it's gonna be pretty scary.
That's the thing right there. It's like people want to talk about how Brooklyn is they're top heavy. It's only as scary as Durant and Harden and Irving, but it's like we've barely even seen those three guys together, and they're still playing the way that they're playing. And I feel like this is intentional. Like I mean, I feel like Durant probably could have come back sooner if he needed to, but he didn't need to. Like Harden's out, and when he's able, he can probably come back sooner than he's going to come back, but he won't. Because one, I mean, they're winning without how
Them.
healthy they need, like they need to be. So it's like come back at 110%, and we'll be better off for it, and we won't have skipped a beat. And I think that's the scariest part about them to me.
I 100% agree with that, and if there was, I feel like there might be one or two teams that can give Brooklyn a tough challenge, but any of those Eastern Conference playoff teams having to go toe to toe for a 7 game series with Brooklyn, that's going to be extremely tough.
I uh I mean, we're both Laker fans. I was talking to I was outside of Wingstop waiting for some wings. I had my Laker hat on, I had my Laker mask on, was waiting for some wings, and some guy just came up to me and he was like, "Hey man, I don't know you," gave me a fist bump and was like, but I mean, Lakers all day, and we just talked for like, I don't know, 10 minutes about Brooklyn. And we both just came to a conclusion before he went into his car and left. I mean, Lakers have amazing defense. We know this. So it's gonna come down to the Lakers can't be in a position in at the end of games, especially in a playoff series, to where it comes down to a shootout because they're going against the top gunslingers
In
in
the
the
game.
NBA.
Yeah.
So you
No way.
can't let it come down to a shootout because you will not win that interaction.
We don't have that type of arsenal the way Brooklyn does. There's no chance that we go toe to toe in a shootout with Kevin Durant, with James Harden, and with Kyrie Irving. Like, no way.
Exactly. So I mean they're going to be scary, especially going into the playoffs. Um but on the West Coast for our team, the Lakers, someone you were the first person that I kind of talked to about Andre Drummond and his acquisition.
I mean, I yeah, we did speak about that, and I expressed to you that Drummond was someone who I think was going to improve the center position for the Lakers because I mean we've all seen the Marc Gasol experiment, and as nice as it was, his ties to Powell, and how good of a player Mark was, it wasn't the same Gasol that we got, that we intentionally signed for, and he's averaging career lows across the board, and the Lakers brass sees that, and they decided it was time to step it up. We needed more production from the number 5 position, and this was something that Drummond is absolutely going to help us in. I mean, you look at his, numbers for rebounding. He's got top three numbers, and this dude's career isn't even over yet. I think I read a statistic where it said that he's grabbed 25% of like every team's like rebound that he's been on. And I think that is unbelievable. I mean, this dude is just born to grab rebounds and just born to just like be off the glass like that. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to help us out a lot. Being able to have him at the five, have Anthony Davis play his preferred position at power forward, and then you add LeBron at the three, and then you can throw in maybe, you know, Dennis at point guard and maybe KCP at the two. And I think we would be solid on both floors, on both sides of the floor, if we put out a team like that. And that's what makes me excited, as a Lakers fan, is, Drummond is going to help us out right now during our injury crisis. And once AD and LeBron come back, you throw them two back on the court again, like they're going to have just enough time to gel together, get it, synced for the playoffs, and we can finally see what this healthy team could be could produce, against
Yep.
any of the Western Conference teams.
Yep. I mean, we know LeBron is one of the greatest minds basketball has ever seen, and it's like we're giving him another piece to the puzzle. Like here's Drummond, Braun, and the Lakers. Like let's see what you could do. Let's see what you can do now.
Yeah,
And I mean, there's just this season more than any other season, Jeremy. There's just so many top teams, like just so many teams performing extremely well. The Clippers are playing well, the Suns are playing well, the Jazz are playing well, the Brooklyn's playing well, the Lakers are like just so many teams that it's like there's so many teams with just anyone's got a punching chance in the playoffs now. Anyone's got a puncher's chance. Like anyone can just surprise any team at this point, and I don't think any of us would be that shocked.
I don't think so either, and this all goes back to sort of, I think it's a lot more balanced now, even though there is a super team like Brooklyn in the Eastern Conference. I still feel like it's more balanced because I mean, there was a time when we knew it was going to be a Cavaliers and Warriors final, year after year after year. We saw it coming, and now we're at a point where we can see like 10 different NBA finals, you know, playing out. And I think, like you said, if there was a team, in the Western Conference, who's a sixth seed and they upset the second or third seed, we really wouldn't be that surprised because that's just how good they are.
Yep. I mean, from and then just individual guys just playing so great, like Embiid, like Jokic, like just these so many of these players, and so many of these players that are going to be in the playoffs and just be doing everything they can to win. Because if we're thinking anyone's got a puncher's chance, they're thinking the exact same thing. Hey, we got a chance to take this whole thing, and we're going to take it. The door is as wide open as it's ever been.
Agreed. Agreed.
Like everyone, of course, you're gonna think Lakers Nets, but it's like they're all right. Look at the mid card. Look at the that mid card is scary.
Exactly. It's not. They're not just scrubs. It's not. You absolutely cannot discount them. And like, look at the teams you mentioned earlier. You said the Jazz, the Clippers, the Suns. Those are all teams right now that are ahead of the Lakers in the standings, and they're stepping up their game. They've been stepping up their game. It. I mean, people can say the Jazz are not as entertaining or fun to watch. But
They're tough.
they
They're a
are.
tough team.
They really are. It's not to take away from what they've accomplished this season because they have been extremely tough opponents. And you look at the Suns. I don't think any. I mean, we knew with the acquisition of Chris Paul that they were going to be a playoff team. I never predicted that they would be a second seed team this late in the season. There might be people out there who maybe did, and kudos to those people for predicting this correctly, but I didn't think that Booker and Chris Paul were going to be this good to carry the Suns team as high as they have now.
I mean, where Chris Paul goes, winning usually follows. And I feel like there's been there's been a lot of bad breaks for Chris Paul, injuries and stuff like that to himself or to his teammates in times where he probably could have advanced farther in in any given series, or any given point in his career where he was in the playoffs fighting to try and get to the finals. But he there's no question that he will make your team better. Like, sure, there will be things that will might keep his team from getting all the way to getting that chip. He's never won a championship before, but it's like there's a pattern here, a pattern of where he goes, his team gets better. He went to the Clippers, and Lob City was one of the most entertaining teams of the 2010s. He's on the Suns now, and they're the second seed in the West. It's like, just it's amazing to see. And it's like, imagine if he was on like a favorite. Imagine if he was on Brooklyn. Imagine if he was
Oh,
on the
I don't even
Lakers
want to.
with LeBron. They would. I don't think there'd be a question for me. I'd be
They,
like, they're winning.
they're yeah, agreed. You can even go back to his lone season with the Oklahoma City Thunder. And
Made them better.
a lot of people thought OKC was not even going to make the playoffs. They're not. They're just, this is a rebuilding phase for them, and yet he led them to the postseason. And I mean, I've always appreciated Chris Paul as a floor general. I mean, his IQ, his awareness of the game, his skill set. I mean, he's been one of the elite point guards in this league, and it shows because, like you said, wherever he goes, he makes his team better. And not every single athlete can say that. We recognize only the great ones can do that. We've seen LeBron, make other players around him great. Chris Paul has that same effect, and it's
Exactly.
truly great to see.
Exactly. Um, I'm gonna make one more wrestling and player comparison to end all of it.
All right.
I mean, is LeBron the Undertaker of basketball?
Is he?
Makes the people around him better. Will make someone who we didn't see before he played with LeBron, and will be like, all right, that's the guy that's worth millions. And
Now,
recognized as one of the top two or three greatest in his sport.
now that
Longevity, they have the same longevity in a career.
now that you put it this way,
Respected by everyone.
everyone,
Everyone.
it's hard to deny it. When you put it like that, it's kind of hard to deny it.
I'm just gonna go down the list of top basketball players and top wrestlers. I'm just gonna be like, this guy's like that guy's like this guy, and
Mix and
just
match. Let's just mix and match. We'll sit down a whole podcast and just do that.
yeah, I'm totally down.
That
That's
would
what
be
I
good.
do. That's just what I do anyways. So
That'd be fun, man. That'd be good. I can
definitely.
see the comparison though. I now that you put it that way, yeah. I mean, it's like you said, it's one thing for them to say, how great they are, but for every single one of their peers, opponents, people that they see professionally on a daily basis talking about how great they are, just goes to show what they've done in their respective industries, and it just makes them stand out above everybody else.
Exactly.